Hey, yo, it's Z100, New York's number one hit music station. I'm Josh Martinez with my guest. All things, all elite wrestling. I usually run down job titles. I'm not going to do it with you. You have too many. Tony Khan, what's going on, man?
It's going well, Josh. It's great to see you. Thanks for having me on.
You got the neck brace on. How you feeling, bro?
Well, it's frankly a blessing. I'm blessed to be here. After taking one of the most dangerous moves in pro wrestling, the spike pile driver, from some of the most dangerous, best wrestlers in the world, I'm here and I've suffered injuries on AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite. But we're doing well, and it's a great time for the company and for wrestling. And it's great to talk about AEW and wrestling with you on Z100, sir.
So we had a busy weekend that had nothing to do with pro wrestling. Had to do with another job that you have amongst the plenty. But there was something fun that happened with your neck brace that you are going to donate it to Rich Eisen, I believe.
Yes, it's a great point. I'm going to donate the neck brace I'm wearing to Rich Eisen's Run Rich Run platform. It's a great charity, and Rich is doing great things. And I think it's awesome that Rich is supporting St. Jude's through his 40-yard dash, the Run Rich Run. And during the draft, Rich is the host on NFL Network, and he during the picks mentioned the pile driver, mentioned the injury in AEW, and gave some good shout outs to AEW, and also references to this neck brace, and tried to make light of a dangerous situation, but really did some good stuff for AEW. And also hopefully now we can do something good with the neck brace and raise money for St. Jude's via Rich Eisen's Run Rich Run.
You know what? Rich Eisen's a good dude. Him and I went to the same high school. Like the notable alumni at my high school that I went to on Staten Island, it's like Rich Eisen and Marsha Clark from the O.J. Simpson trial. That's it.
Well, you guys are peas in a pod, and two of the best hosts I know, and have both been great friends to AEW, you, Josh, and Rich Eisen. And kind of a neat coincidence that you guys went to the same high school in Staten Island. I grew up in Illinois. I went to the University of Illinois Laboratory High School. It's a cool place, and there were 3 Nobel Prize winners there, and we started AEW out of there. And I was writing Wednesday Night Dynamite episodes in notebooks there long before we ever had a show on TBS. I was writing shows called Dynamite, and long before we had AEW. And growing up in Illinois, it's been fun. We did some shows in the Midwest recently around my hometown, and we had a great pay-per-view not far away. AEW Dynasty was such an amazing event. I can't wait to come up to New York. Tickets are flying off for June 30th, UBS Arena, AEW Forbidden Door.
Yeah, I was going to get into that, actually. Forbidden Door, the pay-per-view, which is in June. We have one before that. We'll get to that in a little bit. Why now for a New York City or a New York-based pay-per-view, I should say?
It just seems like the perfect event to bring to New York City. The city is one of the world's greatest pro wrestling meccas. UBS is a beautiful new arena that's got great history with AEW. And Forbidden Door is such a special event to bring the great stars from New Japan Pro Wrestling and all over the world to New York. I think it's awesome. And, the UBS Arena on June 30th will be the home to so many of the world's best wrestlers, top stars from AEW and all over the world. And Forbidden Door has been a great show the past couple of years, and I think we can have the best Forbidden Door yet this year at UBS Arena. Can't wait.
That's a bold statement, my friend. We're looking forward to it. Fast forwarding a little bit more. Last year's All In Wembley, All Out in Chicago, were 2 different shows completely. It almost felt like a 2-night event where there was really whatever happened in Wembley didn't really carry over to the next week from the totality of the pay-per-view event. Is that the plan again this year, to do 2 separate shows, or are we going to try to do a little more intertwining storyline wise in those 7 days between?
Well, All In and All Out were 2 of our best shows last year, and 2 great pay-per-views. I think it worked out incredibly well, and people wondered how we're going to follow this historic All In, and it was a great show, voted by many the best show of the year. And then we followed it up with All Out, which also was thought by many to be our best show of the year. They were completely different, like you said, totally different environments, totally different situations. Going to London Wembley Stadium last year for All In, and then in Chicago for All Out, and that arena was rocking, and the matches were great. And I think, it was a mix of some separate stories and then some flow, like where you had Darby in there with the man now known as Kill Switch, coming off that great match with Sting and Darby with Christian and Swerve at Wembley, and the connection there. And then you had John Moxley and Orange Cassidy wrestling after the tremendous Stadium Stampede match at All In. So some good connective tissue there, but absolutely, I think it's going to be a great All In, All Out this year, and really looking forward to that. And of course, we're going to celebrate the 5-year anniversary of AEW very soon, coming up in about a month. Can't wait for Las Vegas Double or Nothing. It's going to be a great show and a great place to celebrate 5 years of AEW in the exact same place where it began.
Now, you mentioned Sting before, and we know the incredible send-off that your team put on for him at a previous pay-per-view event. Adam Copeland, kind of talking about legends. What has he meant to the AEW locker room since coming in October, I believe?
Yes, Adam Copeland is such a great leader for AEW. He's a TNT champion, and having the Rated R superstar as a locker room leader is such a special thing for us. We're going to have Adam Copeland wrestling tomorrow night on Wednesday Night Dynamite in a TNT championship match. It's an Cope Open match, and it could be any one of the three of the House of Black wrestling Adam Copeland, and the House of Black hold an advantage here because they know the opponent and Adam doesn't. It's going to be a great match, and I think that Adam Copeland's been such a great champion for AEW and a great leader. And tomorrow night on TBS, I think that's going to be a great match, and I'm really looking forward to that. And also just very grateful to have Adam Copeland, the Rated R superstar, in AEW every week. And really, this is the first time we've gone a week without seeing Adam in a long time, as he's recovering from that missed and that great match that we had last week at AEW Dynasty.
Now, you talk about, you said he's a great leader. Now, a lot of times when you talk about leaders, it usually starts at top with the top dog. And if you're the top dog, you're the heavyweight champ. What has Swerve proved to you over the last, let's say, 12 months as a performer in AEW?
Well, Swerve is the AEW World Champion, and what a week it's been, going from AEW Dynasty to really a great match and a great week in Jacksonville, starting it out with an eliminator against Kyle Fletcher, who is one of the top young stars in wrestling, and it was a great matchup for Swerve. And then for Swerve to have his first live interview as the champion, again, in Daly's place, this past weekend, with a great lead-in and a great opportunity for AEW, and then follow it up with Claudio Castagnoli accepting a challenge, coming out one of the best wrestlers in the world. And what a great way for Swerve to make his first ever defense of the AEW World Championship. And I think Swerve's going to be such a great champion for AEW, a great face and representative for the company. We're very lucky to have Swerve Strickland as the AEW World Champion, and I'm really excited about a lot of things happening in AEW, and this great week we just had for Swerve, going from AEW Dynasty to this big week he had in Jacksonville. And tomorrow night on Wednesday Night Dynamite, we'll find out who Swerve's going to be wrestling at the upcoming Double or Nothing pay-per-view. Like I was saying, we'll celebrate 5 years of AEW very soon at the place where it all began in Las Vegas, and it'll be a great pay-per-view, and I think Swerve's going to be a great champion for AEW, and he is right now.
You mentioned his open challenge, so to speak, this past Saturday on Collision. We also saw the return of Roosh and Phoenix as well this past Saturday. As a fan, I was just sitting. I actually happened to be on air Saturday night, 7 to midnight. So I had it on, as I would. And I saw them. Now, it was a bit of a surprise. Maybe it was on Twitter and I didn't see it. Maybe. I don't know. When it comes to making decisions like that from hey, they're back, they're ready to go. Should we promote it? Should it be a surprise? What's your take on that type of approach when it comes to superstars coming back, wrestlers coming back from injury, or just maybe a new signee?
Well, Roosh, I wanted to bring back as a surprise for the fans in Jacksonville. We had done some cool things on Wednesday, some fun surprises in terms of that casino gauntlet match and some really cool, unexpected matchups that nobody saw coming. And we had given the fans a really fun show. There was so much great stuff on Wednesday's show in Jacksonville, including that casino gauntlet match, but also great to see Jon Moxley versus Powerhouse Hobbs. Unfortunately, what happened to me with the Young Bucks and Jack Perry, but also a lot of great things happening in AEW around the women's division. We saw this past week, Timeless Tony Storm had a great match over the weekend with Anna Jay. And on Wednesday, all these great things like Willow Nightingale and Mercedes Moné facing off ahead of their TBS championship match at Double or Nothing. And great to have a new TBS champion, Willow Nightingale, who's a New Yorker and a great wrestling star, and Mariah May and Mina, and so many interesting things happening around AEW. And now Serena Deeb, the professor, coming out, and she's going to wrestle Mariah May tomorrow night on Wednesday Night Dynamite. Very excited about that. So all these cool things happening. And I wanted to give the fans a nice surprise on Saturday. And I thought that it would be great to have Roosh come back, and can't wait to have Roosh back in AEW. And I thought this was like a really cool surprise for the fans in Jacksonville, just like we'd given some fun surprises on Wednesday with the matchups in the Casino Gauntlet match, and really try to keep this night special. I got a fun surprise, and it didn't happen until after Dynamite, so I wasn't able to really get ahead on it, on prior weeks of television. It was something that snuck up on me later, and we just cleared right before Collision Ray Phoenix. And when he came in for the medical check and he was cleared and he really wanted to wrestle for the fans in Jacksonville, I thought it was great. So we announced it during the draft, and I had some block there, and there was something else that I moved around and still be able to accommodate, but made some changes to make sure we got this great match on the show for the fans, Ray Phoenix versus Mortos. And I was very pleasantly surprised when Ray Phoenix came in and said he got cleared for this week, because it was not something I went in expecting, and it was a nice thing to get Ray Phoenix back, and a nice surprise for the fans, and something really fun. And I'm glad you enjoyed it too.
So mentioning this Wednesday night's Dynamite, you mentioned a slew of women that are performing at a high level right now. Word on the street is that AEW signed former NWA Women's Champion Camille. That's a rumor. Anything you want to say about that?
Well, I think Camille's a great wrestler. We followed her very closely. She's worked with a lot of the top AEW talent. As for her status, I can't comment to that, but I think she's tremendous talent, and would be an asset to any wrestling company for sure, including AEW.
So right before this interview started and I was setting things up, I saw something that caught my eye. Now, I will preface this by saying this could very well be something that was clickbaity, something that the title was a little thrown off, but I think I would miss something if I don't bring this up. Allegedly, and that's the key word here, Kevin Nash compared what happened at the end of Wednesday night to WCW's Finger Point of Doom with Sean Oliver, who, by the way, I'm a huge fan of his work. When you hear something like that, what's your initial thought?
Well, I think Kevin Nash was a great wrestler, and his opinions on wrestling, I'm not sure I agree with him. Like, he's had some takes on Will Ospreay I definitely don't agree with, and I'd be remiss if I didn't bring that up. And I think Will Ospreay is one of the best young wrestlers in the world. We're really fortunate to have Will Ospreay in AEW. He's been coming in, week out, and working so hard, having great matches. Since he debuted, both pay-per-views he's been in these classic matches against Takeshita at AEW Revolution and against Bryan Danielson just over a week ago at AEW Dynasty. I think Will Ospreay is so phenomenal, and I've heard criticisms from Kevin that I don't necessarily agree with about Will. So some of his opinions about current wrestling, I just don't agree with, but I wish him the best, and all the respect in the world to him.
If you needed to pick just one, and I'm going to put you on the spot, damn it. If you need to pick one person to say, this is the best wrestler on the planet today, who would you say?
I would say the two, if I may choose from the men's and the women's divisions, I would say Swerve Strickland, the AEW World Champion, and Timeless Tony Storm, the AEW Women's World Champion. They hold the world titles. There are a lot of great champions in wrestling. I think the world of, like, so many great champions. Like I said, the new TBS champion Willow. You could go on and on about the great champions like Okada and Roderick Strong, or Adam Copeland, who we've already gushed about, who could easily be one of the top answers you'd give here for sure. Bryan Danielson is amazing. Jon Moxley is the IWGP World Champion. And there are so many great names and great stars, men and women around the world. But if I had to pick the top men's wrestler and the top women wrestler in the world right now, I would say Swerve Strickland and Timeless Tony Storm.
So my last guess was WWE star Becky Lynch, and you've been on the show plenty of times. She had a question for you.
What do you want the audience to know about you?
I would love for people to know that I love pro wrestling, and that AEW on TBS and TNT every week is a dream come true. And every Wednesday night when we put on AEW on TBS, and every Friday and Saturday on TNT, that this is fulfilling a lifelong dream. Dynamite, I had already mentioned it a little bit earlier, that it's a show that I've been writing since I was 12 years old in notebooks, and always wanted to bring to people. And I think that, you know, even if I hadn't walked away from that pile driver last week, I'd be very happy knowing that we've been able to do great things and brought some great matches and great moments to wrestling. And you mentioned Sting's retirement. I'd say I'm as proud of what we did for Sting, and giving Sting the platform to go out with the best send-off possible after his amazing career, because he deserves that.
Which I don't understand. I'm gonna say it. You don't have to say anything after I say this. Why Goldberg had zero interest and then like shits on AEW recently, saying that it was like too cheesy, I think was the term he used. Or
Bill
whatever.
wanted to work here. I met with Bill several times. Bill was looking to work here. So I don't know what, it's funny because I had a bunch of really nice meetings with Bill, and would have honestly been interested in doing something. So since you brought it up, I have a lot of respect for Bill, but I was surprised by that, because certainly that wasn't what he said to me when he was talking to me about maybe working here at some point, which I've always been open to. And I really like Bill. It's, all about timing, and we're doing a lot of exciting things here right now. And Sting just finished up, and I think, went out on his own terms, doing things he really liked and felt strongly about. And I know Sting and Bill are good friends, and I really like Bill and have respect for him. But when I saw that, I mean, Bill's talked to me about working here, so I don't think he had any problem with any of that content. And anybody who saw Sting's send-off has had positive things to say. So I'm not sure what that was about, but I do respect Bill, and I like him very much. I'm here in Jacksonville, Florida, and he has ties here, and I wish him the best. God bless him. And, he's a great name in wrestling, and I love what we do in AEW, and he's entitled to his opinions. But certainly when I've talked to him in person several times, and in person and in Zooms and phone calls, we've had very nice conversations, and he hasn't said that. But, it's good to know that's how he feels. And maybe that's an opinion he holds now, but certainly in our past conversations, he's always been a very positive, nice guy.
My next guest is going to be WWE superstar Johnny Gargano. Is there a question that you would like to have for Johnny that we could pass along?
I'm not sure I should be speaking to him or conveying questions to him.
I think the idea
without permission
from the podcast is just, it could, what's his favorite cheat meal? It could be a very simple, subdued question.
I don't know. I don't think that's a slippery slope. If I'm starting to ask questions of people from other wrestling promotions, maybe I should take a pass on that one, even though it's a lot of fun. I just don't want to get anybody in trouble. And you got to remember, I'm responsible for a lot of people's jobs. I don't want to create any liabilities for any of them that could affect anybody. Certainly, wrestling's already a crazy enough business, but wish everybody the best. And I hope maybe you could pass on the same question I was asked, because I think it's a great question. Then, what do you want people to know about you? That's a good question.
So shifting gears, because we have just a couple more minutes left. You had a pretty busy weekend, NFL draft. What excited you most this weekend about the draft?
What a great question. It was so great for the Jaguars to come out of the draft with several great players. We had a great weekend, drafted well, made great trade, I believe, and picked up future picks, and also had great picks this year. And then we were really active in undrafted free agency, and I think we're a much better football team after this weekend, which is the thing I'm the most excited about, is that we've really strengthened the team and added some great players on defense, and added great players that can help the offense. We got a great coach with Doug Peterson, and a great quarterback with Trevor Lawrence, and added one weapon in particular with Brian Thomas Jr. And BTJ is one of the best wide receivers in recent draft history. And he's a great, great college football player who's got great athletic ability. And bringing Brian from LSU to the Jacksonville Jaguars is going to be a huge addition. And it was a great weekend for the Jaguars all around. And definitely that was a highlight as well.
I just hope, for the record, that both of our first round picks from LSU do very well this upcoming season.
Well, the Jaguars added, I'm sure you noticed, we added several players from LSU. We were very active. We picked
up the first two, right?
That's right. That's right. We went right back to back, right off the top with LSU, and not only with Brian and Mason, but then also with Jordan. So three great players out of LSU, and just a really great draft class. A lot of players out of the SEC, plus Jarian from FSU. Some great players from great teams, and the Jaguars, I think, are a better team now for sure after this weekend. And I think everybody stocks up in the draft, but I was really excited we were able to stock up and picked up multiple picks for next year as well, which is always important. Year after year, we've been stocking those picks, and we keep coming in with additional picks. This year we had the compensatory picks as well. I think as an organization, we've been well managed. And I think that it's really exciting because our players are really hungry to win here in Jacksonville for these fans, and for Doug. Doug's a great coach, and he deserves it. And he's going to come out with a great team this year. And I really believe in Doug Peterson.
One day I will do enough soccer research to hold a conversation. But till then, thank you, Tony Khan. I could do football and wrestling. Can't do the original football, but we'll stop there. I appreciate you for stopping by. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you for having me on. And I hope you and everybody will be able to check out AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite tomorrow night, 8 p.m. on TBS. Thank you for always having the AEW wrestlers and myself from the AEW office on the show, Josh. You're a great man. I wish good luck to your basketball team and all your sports teams. God bless you. And thank you. Wishing you and Z100 all the best. Thank you very much for being such a great friend to AEW and me personally, Josh.